Ground Duke Gun Show is the official podcast of Sentry Defense Indoor Range in Youngsville, Louisiana. Sentry Defense Indoor Range is the home of a shooting community that values growth, safety, and fun in shooting. It's all out there. But you know, like the one thing I've noticed, I know you haven't been looking at major matches that much this year, but dude, nobody's signing up for majors.
Really?
It's clean. The fact that we're like the Arkansas section,
that's crazy.
There are 138 spots open. The thing's been open for at least 2 months.
And you see, like last year, like it was so hard to get into a match. Like I had to call match directors just to like get a spot.
And you begged them.
Yeah, begged them for a spot, and it was like, hey, like I want to shoot your match.
Yeah,
and it finally let you in, but and it was still like. The politics side wasn't good last year, but I think it's just like reaching more people this year and like it's getting more aware.
I think when they started kicking out area directors, people started getting mad.
Yeah. And
so
I don't know if it's going back to Josh whenever he asked like, what do you think is going to happen? Like I hope it gets better. I was like, dude, I don't know if it can come back. Yeah. Right? Like I don't know if like people can trust USPSA until like everything is redone.
Right.
Like the whole organization would have to be turned upside down.
Yeah.
Like I think eventually someone is going to have a void in the market and someone's going to start up another club.
Well, I mean, you see it with like PCSL and stuff already.
Yeah. We talked about that before, it's the targets and things like that. Like if they come out with a standardized, it's very, very close to USPSA and everybody can get the targets and everybody can shoot it and it's kind of like open. Like someone has to view it as a business, but not look at it like I'm gonna make a ton of money. They can't be greedy.
Yeah.
Let everybody shoot it, and then it's gonna become a big thing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I was talking to Edwin yesterday, right? Because we were trying to figure out if they're gonna room with us. That big room that I found in Arkansas. So I think they've got 5 guys that are gonna come. But anyway.
Side note: if any Filipino friends, that's the guys you want to room with at a match.
Oh,
they always cook.
Yeah,
there's always good food there.
That's what I told him. I said, Edwin, Blake may want to stay with us just so he doesn't have to cook.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, bring him in.
Blake will sleep on the floor. He doesn't care. He's like,
so long as there's food.
As long as there's food.
No, but so I was talking to him yesterday. He was like, yeah, you know what? If IDPA were smart, this would be the time to recapitalize the market on IDPA. I was like, yeah, dude, IDPA can't get out of their own way though.
No,
there's no way
they're too prideful.
Capitalize
man.
on this. Yeah,
they're too prideful. They're like, no, we're having fishing vests. This is it.
That's right. You got to shoot from behind cover. There's there's the target engagement rules. You got to retain all your mags.
You have to say the Pledge of Allegiance to Wilson Combat.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, no, it's been pretty wild that like there's no like majors.
I know.
A lot of them going hit factor. I think Kentucky section is going to go hit factor. Like,
really?
Not the Arkansas, the Kansas or somewhere up north. Great Plains, I think, went hit factor. Illinois went hit factor.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's like that's going to be the new league, right? Like whatever they call it is going to be. They're just going to like that's their way of kicking the board out. Right. It's like the members being like, hey, you know what? We're going to do our own thing. Yeah. And like, you can have USPSA, but like we have this other thing.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the real USPSA.
I think it's going to be like the people who shoot USPSA still are like people who want to go to World Shoot.
Yep.
But I think I don't know, man. And I don't know, but I think at some level, I just hope they go like I think they can fix USPSA, but you're right. They have to gut it.
Yeah. They have to gut it. They have to, like everybody has to go. And because if one person stays, like I wouldn't want to be that one person. No, like I wouldn't want to be if I was like the actual good person that's on the board, like I wouldn't want to stay because if anything goes wrong, you're to blame.
Exactly.
Like you're gonna be number one. You're gonna be like, oh, it's because of you.
It's the legacy person. It's that person.
Yeah. So it's like no, you like everybody. If you want to like help out, then you just step away and you let a whole another group of people come in.
I think
and hope for the best.
But dude, I think there's.
It's too much ego.
I guess, yeah. I've always wondered that because, like, area director is not a thankful job, man. Like, I wouldn't want to do that.
Dude, it's like the same thing in, I used to see it in Little League Baseball. Right? like look at Little League Baseball. Like, there's, like, guys that go out and, like, become coaches and, like, they run the organization of Little League Baseball because, like, they have so many other regrets in their life. Like, they're so unhappy. They're like, what can I have control of?
Yeah.
Oh, this. Yeah. Like, they sink their teeth into it and just, like, drain it.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like, I wish somebody would just, like, wants to make the sport better. But all those people, like, don't have time.
Yeah.
right? Like we talk about that all the time. It's like, man, why doesn't a business owner like take over USPSA and like actually do it? Because he doesn't have time.
Because they'd rather make money.
Exactly. You'd
you know?
rather like start your own business and do that. And,
Yeah.
you know, like you're so wrapped up in however many businesses you have, you don't have time to donate your time to an organization.
I mean, imagine like, okay, who would be a good area director here? You know, but it's like the double-edged sword. It's like, okay, yeah, they'd be a great area director, but Jesus, you know, like how to do it right, you know, you have to, I mean, so the way I look at it is like golf, you know, because the golf has similar where they have a president and then they have area directors or something like that, right? But I think all those people who are area directors in golf get paid.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that's their job to manage their area of PGA, and I mean it's a big job, man.
And that's what it all boils down to is money, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, oh, we're going bankrupt, or whatever. It's like there's no way. Like someone's taking the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's like, you know, when they came
math.
out with that things like they're losing $100,000 every national. It's like, how the hell are you? Where does that go?
Yeah.
Because it sure as hell ain't coming to us. And you know, they up the price of nationals to $400 or something like that. It's like, that's not going to fix it.
It's crazy.
You know, because it's like, I don't know, whatever. I mean, but yeah. So I think one of the things that you could do is like if you're an area director, if you're wanting to run for area director. Like, because Area 4 is up, right? So whoever's running for Area 4, this is what I want to see from you as a club contact or whatever you call us, section, Louisiana, whatever. Just run your meetings on Zoom, you know, and just tell us what the bank account looks like every month.
Yeah, be transparent.
You know? Just that's it. Just tell us all that stuff. Like, and if you do that, and then you ask, like, you have a quorum of the section coordinators, right? There can't be that many section coordinators. So it's like area director and all the section coordinators on a call once a month. You talk about whatever you talk about. Just let everybody see it. And you have one section. It's like, okay, well, you know, area match, we brought in this much money. This person's going to sponsor. Here's where the money's going to go. This is our budget. This is our plan. You know, we're going to send out this much. We're cutting off. And because one part of it is like education for the shooters that, hey, okay, we cut off registration on this day because the next day is when we buy targets. The next day is when we buy sticks and steel and all of this stuff. And it's like, and we spent $25,000 on that. Okay, boom. Okay, now we got it. Okay, now we're going to spend $5,000 on food. Oh, well, now we have this extra $1,000. Well, we can either do this with it. We can either buy lunches for the shooters, or we can, you know, put it on the prize table. Which one do you want to do? You know, and so then everybody knows what the hell's going on.
Yep.
You know, and I think if you do that, and you start to do that as an area director, everybody starts to do that as an area director, then people will pay attention to it for the first year or two.
Yeah.
And then if you continue it and you're not doing anything weird, then like, okay, then nobody's going to pay attention to it so long as you keep doing your job, you know? And then the area match is the area match. And then hopefully if they could do that, that would trickle upwards to the national level where it's like, okay, that's what I want to see it. You know, what they're talking about. It's like, okay, here's what nationals is going to look like. We've got 3 nationals. We brought in this much money from SIG, this much money from Staccato. It's going to go to
an expense like spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Right. Like just
that's all we want to see.
All
man.
it is. Expense spreadsheet.
That's all you got to do. It's not that hard.
Yep. And pay the people that want to be paid, and then cater to the people that want to be catered. Right. So like the shooters should be catered to, where like, hey, you shouldn't have to reset targets or do any of that stuff. And like, it's an experience. Like you're willing to pay for it, then here you go. And then the people that are not willing to pay for it, well, then you work the match and you get paid.
Right.
Right. Like that's where the money
exactly.
can go.
Well, no, and you know, we talked about this before, like how they should run nationals, right?
Yeah.
So you know, number one, if Area 6 can do staff reset, then why can't nationals do staff reset?
That's right.
Right. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, you know? I mean, because there are a lot of people who complain about like the competitive equity and this and that or whatever. Like, well, number one, competitive equity, if you let the competitors touch the targets, you know, they can screw around with it. I mean, you've seen it.
Dude, how many times people like paste for a buddy because they have a mic?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. They have a
sorry,
bad run.
Paste. Yeah.
They give each other the look, and then one guy goes paste the thing.
Dude,
you know?
it's even sad, like whenever it's a level 1, like Gator. Remember like 2 years ago, I heard somebody was doing that, like, they had one girl that was shooting PCC or something, and she had like 4 reshoots.
Yeah.
In a like 12-stage match, you had 4 reshoots because she had bad runs and like the
guy go paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's a level 1. Like,
come on, man. Like, what are you gonna win here?
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, and so you get rid of all that shenanigans if you have staff reset, you know. But so there's that. I think I remember we talked about this before. I also think that like if you finish top 15 in the nationals previous, right, then in each area match you're in the top 15 or top whatever, top 10, top 15. If you're not in that circle, like that group of shooters in the top 15 of the area matches and the nationals match should get invited to shoot nationals.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And then that nationals itself is just is those shooters on whatever stages. So you go to the range, there's 20 stages, you have staff reset for that, right? Yeah. And then so in open, it'd be X people, and they're shooting for the national title, right? Yeah. Nobody else is shooting for the national title.
It can even be more. Like, if there's 500 shooters, take the top 100.
No. But here's what I'm saying. You have the first day or two be staff reset for that, you know, like completely where they're getting, the top 20 shooters are shooting for the national title. Mm-hmm. Boom, you reward the national title. Then the next 5 days, you open it up as a match. Instead of a level 4, you make it a level 3. And this is the USPSA national something or other, you know, like it's not true nationals because it's not the level 4.
Yeah.
But you want to shoot nationals, we're going to run it as a level 3, and you know, then you open it up to 500 shooters.
Yeah.
You know,
yep.
And then it's like, okay, well then maybe that doesn't need to be staff reset. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I get that. Like, I think it could be you have to find that number because like the top like 15 or 20, like it's so close. You know, like you.
Well, but so you even say it's the top 50.
Yeah, top 50, top 100, because like there's some guys that like might not be great this year, but then like next year they're in the top 15.
Exactly.
Right. And it's like if they're shooting like the second match, then they could have a
but you know what you get what I'm saying though, right?
You got to find that number.
There's certainly a level of people that you could figure out
the GMs
could win the match, right? Well, and that's the thing, and that's why if you include all the area matches, it's like, okay, well, if you were in the top 15 nationals, okay, then you're in. But then if you had a bad nationals, then you go to the end of the area matches. It's like, okay, well, if you were 150th in nationals, but then you happen to be, 8th in all of the other area matches, well, clearly they had a bad match.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, we'll bring that person in too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And all the area matches should be before nationals.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how you have a nationals and all of a sudden you have section and area matches after.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you award slots?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
National
it kind of got away
last.
from, and it should be it should be harder.
Yeah, it should be definitely harder. It should have movers on almost every stage.
Yeah, multiple. It should look like Dragon.
Yeah, it should look. Dragon's Cup is nationals.
Yeah, well, I said that last year too, right? We all said that. It's like the real nationals for the past couple of years since Dragon's been around has been Dragon.
Yep, 12 field courses. That are like all there's movers on 3/4 of the stages at least.
Yeah.
I think they had 12 stages last year. Was it 12 stages? And they had, I want to say, either 11 or 12 movers on the whole course.
Yeah.
Like some stages had 2, some stages didn't have any.
Yeah.
But like they had the same amount of moving targets as they had stages.
Right. No, and I think I get it where people are saying, they want the C class shooter, the D class shooter to be able to shoot it. It's like, I get it for everything except Nats.
Yeah. National should be a different.
You should be able to expect. Yeah. It's like,
and now don't go like crazy. Don't go like Shannon Smith style where you put in little bitty
35,
targets.
A 35 no shoot, a no shoot behind a swinger, plate swinger.
Yeah.
You don't want
that.
Like
1 year, Florida Open, they had like 30-yard half size IPSC targets on like 5-foot sticks.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I remember shooting it. I had there was 4 targets, so 2 on each swinger. And I had 4 mics. Blake had 4 mics, I believe. And I remember Tilly shot it like right after us. And I was shooting carry optics. Blake was shooting limited.
Right.
And so we're going like 800 feet per second. Tilly shoots it with an open gun. He has 1 mic. So I'm like, man, where were you holding that? He was like, oh, I was holding on the edge of the stick, right, in order to get it there. And I was like, you're shooting 1,400 feet per second.
Yeah.
I was holding the same area. I wasn't even close. Like, I was off the target by a foot. I would have had to hold a foot off the target in order to hit an A-zone.
I mean, you're going to have to hold it with the swingers here. You're going to have to hold here.
Exactly. Yeah, a foot off the target. I was like, that's impractical. Like, there's no reason it should be, that bad.
Yeah.
They had one state, I think Texas Open last year. Remember that zebra target that was on a swinger?
Yeah,
it was like a 2-inch zebra line.
Because it was
like
more,
Yeah, that's what it boils down to is like stages like that becomes luck. So you shoot a bunch of rounds at it and hope you hit it.
Right.
And then whoever hits it is going to win the stage.
Right.
So it's like, that's not really showing you who's the best shooter.
Right.
That's showing you who got the most luck.
Who hooked up.
Yeah, who hooked up that stage, and that's it. So you can't have stages like that, but I definitely agree. Like, you should have very complex stages to where it's like different shooting positions and getting in and out of positions are a big thing, and movers.
I just think the fact that if you have multiple movers, and if you have multiple movers and different activators, that makes the stage completely, where it's up to the shooter to figure out the sequencing, where, you know what I mean? Like, where it's, there's, if there would be a way to shoot it that's the most efficient, and it's like, can you hook up that way, right?
Yeah,
like
that's very IPSC style too, and like the good thing and bad thing about that is, like, if you have if one little thing goes wrong, like, the whole entire stage is bombed.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
like,
that's the hard part. Yeah.
That's the hard part about it, but because you lose a lot of points on that stage. If you're a really good shooter and you should be in the top, and you have like one or two stages like that are bombed.
Well, if you have a jam,
yeah,
or something,
you're done.
You're smoked.
Like,
yeah.
You're smoked. You're out of the whole running of the whole match.
Yeah.
So you gotta, like, kind of find the balance, but it should not be like where Gator kind of like is a hoser match, like where you have targets that are 5 feet in front of your face.
Right.
Like, definitely shouldn't be that either.
Yeah. No. Well, no. The one I'm thinking is that when there was a dragon stage, I guess a couple of years ago or last year, where it was a fixed time. You remember that fixed time one?
That. Yep.
And I think, like, to make that where it's I guess more of a nationals ready stage is you just reduce the par time.
Yeah.
Right. That's all you'd have to do, because there are folks who can do it. Most of the folks were able to complete it at Dragon.
Yep.
But if you take 1 second off of that, I bet half the people couldn't do it.
Yep. And that stage, I think, was actually perfect, like, the part time and everything, because, like, I remember me, Max, and JJ was on a squad together on that stage, and I shot it first before all of them, and I remember I was the first person in our squad to, like, get all hits on paper.
Yeah.
Right. I had a Delta and, like, 1 or 2 Charlies on the whole stage. So I was like, man, I'm happy with that. Like, nobody was getting even to the last target, much less if they did get to that last target, they had a mic on it because they just threw 2 rounds on it. So I'm like, I smoked it, And then JJ gets all hits on paper. I forgot, like, it was about the same. And then Max hooks up and actually hits all A's.
All alphas.
Yeah, all alphas.
Of course it's
and
Max.
hits it. And I'm like, geez, man. But, like, that goes to show you, like, you have 3 GMs that shoot it, and they all get all hits on paper, just like one of them hooked up, right? So it's like that was perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
But I guess
Max
that's what I mean, though. Like,
great
you can
shooter.
adjust it those ways where you don't make the targets harder.
Yeah.
That you can adjust part times, or you can give an option of sequencing that's different. Like, so for example, if you had you've seen them all the time where you can activate a swinger with a steel, and it also, there are 2 targets that you can take before the steel, right? What I'm thinking is, what if you put a foot activator somewhere else and you can activate that same thing from a different place?
Yeah.
Then it gives you, it's like, oh, well, I could do it this way or I could do it that way. Then it's more of a, okay, well, what would I do? So then, the shooter you could cater to the shooter's strengths or weaknesses, because then it's like, okay, well, if they want to activate it over here, they actually have to go maybe a second, to take that activator, but then it sets them up better for something different. You get what I mean? So just placing an activator somewhere else could help with that. Or
Definitely.
if it's okay, if you activate that, it also activates something else that maybe you don't want to activate now. You want to activate that later.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
They had a stage in IPSC Nationals that was kind of like that, where it was cross swingers. So, like, you activated one and you had to run over here. So, like, you start in the middle, so you had to shoot this, and then, like, run over here, shoot this activator in the swinger, but then you had to run back.
Right.
It's kind of confusing. And sometimes having too many options, like, a lot of people like that. They're like, oh, there's so many options to shoot a stage. Like, sometimes I don't like that, because in the super squad, like, usually everybody shoots the same way, right? Because what I've come to learn is, like, you really want to see who's the best shooter, right? So if you find a different way and it's like, oh, I'd saved off 2 seconds, then it's not really like going to the shooting ability. It's like, hey, can I figure out this stage, right? Can I game it?
Are you a better gamer?
Yeah, are you a better gamer? So it's like, I kind of like IPSC style where it's like, hey, it's straight up. Everybody's going to shoot it the same way. And we really find out like who's the better shooter. So some people might disagree with that, but
well, I guess what I'm getting at, because I shot that Australasia match several years ago, right? And I remember where you would have an activator on one side of the stage, and it would activate two things. You know what I mean? And you'd see something falling down, and then there'd be a swinger over there too.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh gosh, okay, well, where am I going to activate that guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was one activator to activate two things, and so maybe there was you only had to activate it once, but you had to figure out when you were going to do it, because if you activate it close, then you would get a better presentation on the moving swinger. You know, if you activate it far, then you got a better shot. You could get better points on the other thing.
Gotcha.
You know, so stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
and I like how they like sometimes you have different. Whether it be start positions or like different positions to get in and out of, because then like it's supposed to be a skill based thing, right? Like whoever has the best skill. So if you're practicing all these things, like whoever has the best skill of all of them, who's more well rounded, I think that would be a great nationals things where it might be, you're leaning to the left side. There's a stage that's really hard lean here. There might be a prone position.
Right. I mean, I hate it. I hate prone, but we don't see prone a lot.
We don't see it. Yeah.
And the low ports lately have been not low.
Yeah.
You know, I remember nationals past where it's just like low port. I was telling one of the guys that I remember low port once where my foot was taller than the port, you know, and there was a target. I mean, it was on the ground, but you had to get down there and shoot it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, how the hell are you going to do that? And it was in the middle of the stage. So you could run all the way around and go to the low port last, but it was not an efficient stage plan, you know? So like that kind of stuff where it's just, I mean, it's hard to run the level where it's too hard.
Yeah, it is, because like I remember one time at nationals they had a low port that was on the edge of a corner, right? Like, so you had nowhere to kind of like crouch down at, and you couldn't get in a comfortable position.
Right.
So it's like now it's almost too hard to get in that position. It's like, let's just have a low port where you come down and you got to get back out, right? So then it kind of tests some athletic abilities and things like that. That would be great, but not overly hard to where everybody can shoot it. You know?
There was one match in Texas I remember where it was a low port. Like the presentation was low, close. But I guess the way they did it, like the further away you were, you could have a better presentation at it, but it was just farther. So I was like, oh, well, that's an interesting way. But and it wasn't where you could walk straight up to it. It's like you had to take that low port one from a little bit further out, you know, on the corner of a stage where you may not have wanted to go all the way there, but if you took an extra step, you could take the low port one, versus if you ran by it, then you could take it, but you'd have to get low to take it. Gotcha. You know what I mean? So even just that kind of stuff, just thinking through the stage and not making it so vanilla.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.